Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video I'm going to be showing you how to make another YouTuber skin statue. This time it's going to be Elphalee, at least I hope that's how it's pronounced, or, which would be easier, a Banjo skin statue out of Banjo and Kazooie. Whichever way you want to look at it, either way, if you want to make it, here's what you're going to need. You're going to need sandstone, black wool, dark grey, light grey, white, brown, cyan, light blue, and finally yellow wool. We're actually going to need some more colours later on, but we seem to be at max capacity at the moment, so we'll grab those as we need them. So once you've got your colours and once you've figured out where you want to make it, I'm going to be making it right here. You're going to want to start out with a row of 8 sandstone in a row on the floor. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that is going to be the base of our... You know what, I'm just going to refer to this as a Banjo statue from now on. If you don't know what that's from, do yourself a favour and type in dueling banjos into YouTube. You'll have yourself a good time. Perhaps Deliverance dash dueling banjos. That should get it. Anyway, continuing on. What you want to do on top of your row of 8 sandstone is throw on another row of 8 sandstone to give you 2 rows. What you then want to do on top of that is 4 solid rows of brown wool. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. What you then want to do on top of your 2 rows of sandstone and 4 rows of brown is 6 solid rows of yellow wool. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Count them out and fill them in. By the way, I didn't have the colours necessary to put the detail that I wanted to into the leg section of the Banjo statue. I kind of had to sacrifice detail for aesthetics. Like, I had to make a conscious decision on whether I wanted to make it look good or make it look realistic. I chose look good. So that is what you want to have for the entire leg section. Pause that if necessary. Once you've done that, we can work our way up to the torso. So what you want to do, going from left to right for the next row, on top of this row of yellow here, you're going to want to do this. 1 black wool, 1 dark grey, 1 light grey, 2 black wool, 1 light grey, 1 dark grey, and finally 1 black wool to give you the first row of the belt. What you then want to do on top of that is you want to do 2 white wool in the 2 centre spots of the row, a single light grey either side of the white, and then dark grey wool everywhere else to give you the finished belt. What you then want to do for the next row on top of the belt is a solid row of brown wool, and I would do yourself a favour here, just as I'm doing myself one. Move brown and sandstone very close together. Save a lot of pain in the upcoming rows. So what you want to do on top of that is you want to do 2 sandstone in the centre of the row, brown everywhere else. For the next 2 rows, you're going to want to do this. 4 sandstone in the centre of the row, and then brown everywhere else. I'm just going to cut out the middlemen here and just do all of the sandstone in one, and then there you go. What you then want to do for the next row after that, you want to do a single brown on the ends of the row, and then sandstone everywhere else. And I believe that that is halfway up the torso, so what I'm going to do is give you a bit of a view of what you want to have. Pause that if necessary. We're halfway up the torso at this point. Gets a little trickier from here on out, but not so tricky. Alright, so here's what you want to do for the next row. You're going to want to place 2 black in the centre of the row, a single brown on the ends of the row, and sandstone everywhere else. For the next row after that, it's going to be easiest if we just make this from left to right. So here's what you want to do. 1 black, 1 sandstone, 1 dark grey, 1 white, 1 light grey, 1 black, 1 sandstone, and finally 1 black. And as a matter of fact, the next row after that's just going to be easiest if we make it from left to right as well. So going from left to right on the next row, 1 cyan, 2 sandstone, 1 dark grey, 1 black, 2 sandstone, and finally 1 cyan. And that is the pendant just about made. We've just got to make the string. So for the next row, you're just going to want to do 2 sandstone in the 2 centre spots of the row, a single black either side of the sandstone, light blue wool on the ends of the row on top of the cyan, and sandstone everywhere else. And for the 6th, well, the 12th and final row, you're going to want to do this. You want to do a single light blue on the ends of the row, single black coming in towards the center from the light blue, and then sandstone everywhere else, to give you something which should look a little bit like that. The reason that I almost called that the 6th row was because in my head I'd split the torso into 2 halves, so like 6 for that first half and 6 for the second half. So that is what you want for the entire torso. Let me show you the legs and the torso together. I always like to look at it from this view, I don't know why. Once you've reached this point right here, and pause that if necessary, if you're still working on that, we can work our way onto the arms, and the arms are actually really easy. So you're going to want to come to the first row of the torso, which is this row just above the yellow right here, and you're going to want to extend out this row by 4 either side with your sandstone. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and on the other side as well, 1, 2, 3, 4. I like to do the first row of the arms on both sides. I don't know why. So, once you've done that, we can work our way onto the right arm. So, I like to make the arms going from outwards to inwards and just calling out colours. So, for example, the next row on top of your first row of sandstone, you're going to want to do 2 sandstone, 2 brown. Next row, you're just going to want to do an entire row of sandstone. And this is where it gets extremely easy. Every single other block of the arm is just simply brown wool, so however you'd like to fill in the rest of the arm, just entirely with brown, you go ahead and do it. If you like to make it into a shape, make it into a shape and fill it in, or if you'd prefer to do it row by row meticulously, do that. All that matters is that you end up with something that looks a little bit like that. Very simple. Pause that if necessary. Once you've done that, you can work your way onto the other arm, and the other arm is just a mirror image of that arm. So just to do this quick, on top of the first row, 2 sandstone, 2 brown. Next row, entirely sandstone, and every other row after that is just brown. So just to fill these all in with brown. As I said, the arms, very simple, nothing much to them whatsoever. So you just want to have something which should look a little bit like that. And again, for the arms, by the way, the arms could have been slightly more detailed, and as could the torso have been a bit more detailed, although I'm quite happy with the detail that's in the torso. If we had another colour for skin colour, like if sandstone wasn't the only viable skin colour, if we had something else in there that was perhaps either darker or lighter, the arms may have looked ever so slightly better, but what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Nothing I can do. So that is what you want to have for the arms, and let me show you what you want to have overall, because once you've reached this point right here, you have done the entire front of the statue, minus the head of course, and once you have reached this point, pause this if necessary, we can get to work on the back of the statue. So, once you are at this point, just to say it for a third time, you're going to want to come down to the bottom of your statue, and you want to do this. I always have a hard time putting this into words, but you're going to want to extend back from the edge of each side of the feet by 3 with your sandstone block. So you just want to do this. Very hard to explain, very easy to do. You just want to do this from the back of your statue. So you just want to have that. What you then want to do, after you've done your 2 rows of 3 sandstone, is you just want to connect them together, back block to back block, like so. And what you've essentially done there is you've just given yourself the platform to build up the back of the statue, because we're going to be building up the entire back of the statue exactly how we've just built up the entire front of the statue. So for now, you're just going to want to focus on these back 8 blocks and ignore these 2 blocks that we have on the left and right hand side of the statue here. So working our way up, what you're going to want to do on the back row is another row of sandstone, and these next few rows are going to seem very familiar to you. So what you want to do on top of your 2 rows of sandstone is 4 rows of brown wool. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 rows of brown wool, and the next few rows may also seem a bit familiar to you as well. As a matter of fact, I could have just said copy the front of the legs onto the back of the legs, but you know. That is what you want to have so far. 2 rows of sandstone, 4 rows of brown. What you then want to do for the next 6 rows is 6 rows of yellow wool. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And just fill those in. Very simple. And just as with the back of the legs, again, could have added more detail, but didn't. It would have looked worse. So that is what you want to have for the entire back of the legs. Very simple. Just make sure that they are the exact same at the front and you can't go too wrong. So pause that if necessary. Once you've done that, we can work our way up the back. So for the first row of the back, you're going to want to do this going from left to right. You want to do 1 dark grey, 1 black, 1 dark grey, 2 black, 1 dark grey, 1 black and 1 dark grey to give you something which should look a little bit like that. And what you want to do for the next row is a solid row of dark grey wool. So just to make the second row of the back of the belt, what you want to do after that is a solid row of brown wool, like so. What you want to do for the next row is slightly trickier. We're starting to make the backpack now. You're going to want to do 2 black in the centre of the row, a single dark brown on the ends of the row, and cyan wool everywhere else. Like so. What you want to do for the next row, throw a cyan on the ends of the row, throw a black next to the cyan, and then cyan everywhere else. And as a matter of fact, I can't believe I didn't notice this, we're going to be needing to grab a couple more colours. So what you're going to want to throw away for a while, you can quite comfortably get rid of both yellow and white for a little bit. Just put those into holding. And what you want to grab is red and orange wool. So grab the red and orange wool. Once you've done that, we can progress onto the next row. So here's what you want to do. For the next row, you're going to want to do this, and we'll probably just make this from left to right just to make it easy. So you want to do this, going from left to right, 1 cyan, 1 light blue, 1 red, 2 light blue, 1 red, 1 light blue, and finally 1 cyan. For the next row, you basically want to copy the previous row, except in the place of red, place orange. So copy everything there is about the previous row, except place orange there instead of red. For the next row, we're just going to be doing this from left to right as well, just for easiness sake and so I don't get confused. You want to do 1 cyan, 1 light blue, 1 red, 2 cyan, 1 red, 1 light blue, 1 cyan. For the next row, you're going to want to do 2 light blue in the centre of the row, a single red either side of the blue, and then cyan everywhere else. For the next row, you're going to want to do a single cyan on the ends of the row, and then light blue everywhere else. For the next row, you're going to want to do... Oops, came a little too forward there. You're going to want to do 2 cyan in the 2 centre spots of the row, single cyan on the ends, and then light blue everywhere else. What you want to do for the final row of the back is a single light blue on the ends of the row, and then brown everywhere else to give you the entire back of the statue. And you know what, I'll actually zoom in on the backpack for you, and then I'll give you a better view of the back. So that is the backpack. Looks pretty good if I do say so myself, and I do say so. Pause that if necessary, let me show you the entire back including the belt. And furthermore, let me show you the entire back of the statue. And it's getting a little dark, so when it comes back, we're going to be back with a vengeance. And we'll do the arms. So, alright, so moving on to the arms, and the arms are going to be no trouble for you whatsoever, and here's why. The back of the arms are quite simply a mirror image of the front of the arms, so all you have to do the back of the arms is copy what you have from the front, and as you might imagine, they start in the same place on the back as they do the front, so all you have to do is quite literally just look straight forward and copy what you have. I'm not looking at my plans here, I am just copying what I have on the front onto the back, and I suggest you do the same. There's no need for any instructions here, so just to copy what I have on the front. Looks good to me. Moving over to the other arm. 1, 2, oops, 3, 4. Sandstone there, brown there, sandstone on top, and just everywhere else is brown. Nothing to it whatsoever. Shouldn't even take you too long. So that is what you want to have for the entire back of the statue once you've thrown the arms on there, and as you can see, exact same on the back as they are on the front, no differentiation whatsoever. And just to show you the entire back of the statue all done together, that is what it wants to look like. pause that if necessary. Once you've done that, we can work our way onto the sides, and the sides are really simple as well. So moving on to the sides, and it really does truly not matter which side you start on, by the way. They are both identical. So what you want to do for the sides is quite simply this. You see this colour that we have on the left and the right side here? You simply just want to copy that colour into the two centre blocks right here. So there's no need for any brain exertion here. Just look at what you have on the left and the right and copy it in there. And it would seem that we need to have yellow back again, so I'm going to throw orange and red away for a bit. Grab our old pals yellow and white, just so that we can finish the side. And I think that we actually need white for the face. And the same applies for the side of the arms as well, by the way. So that is what you want to have for the side of the leg. Very simple. As I said, you just colour match, pause that if necessary. And for the arms, I kind of went in there a bit prematurely, but you just want to fill in the bottom of the hand in with sandstone, as I have done there, to give you the side of the hand and to plug any holes in the statue. And it is the exact same game. You just want to match what colours you have on the left and the right and throw them in the middle like that. And that just applies all the way up, so just to fill in the rest of the arm in with brown. And once you've done that, you just want to come up to the top of the shoulder, and the shoulder you just want to fill in with brown as well. And you only have to come in by 3 with the brown, so you just want to do that. The head will take care of the rest. You're only filling in the top of the shoulder to keep the statue airtight. You don't want any holes in there. And let me just show you what the entire side of the statue should look like once you've done it. Very simple indeed. So pause that if necessary. Once you've done that, we're going to knock out the other side of the statue very quickly, because as I said, they're identical. You just have to match the colours. It does not get easier than this. Unless there was no size to the statue, and I was just going to say there's no statues like that, although I downloaded Skin Pack 5, and I'm kind of tempted to make the Rayman skin. I'm a big fan of Rayman. I like the original, one of the most frustrating games I've ever played, and I kind of like the skin. I'd have to tweak it a little bit though, it's looking a little weird, but this side of the statue, as I said, just identical to the other side of the statue. Very easy, very simple, requires very little thought whatsoever. So once you've done that, pause that if necessary as I adjust my plans. Pause that if necessary. Once you have reached this point right here, where you have done the entire front, the entire back, and entire sides of the statue, you can work your way up to the head of the statue. And here's what you want to do once you are indeed at this point right here. And just to reiterate myself, the entire front, the entire back, and the entire sides are done. Here's what you want to do. You want to work your way to the front of the statue, and you're going to want to come right the way up to the top here. And on top of the 8 original blocks of the torso, so these 8 right here, you're just going to want to place 8 sandstone on top of them. Like so. What you then want to do, in front of the row of sandstone that you've just done, is you want to do 2 more rows of sandstone coming towards you. So, like this. 1 and 2. To give you something which should look a little bit like that from the side. It wants to be overhanging the front of the statue by 2 rows. And that front row that we have right here, this row closest towards us, is going to be the front row of the face. So once you've done that, here's what you want to do. On top of this most outward row of sandstone, you're going to want to throw 2 more rows of sandstone directly on top of it. So 1 and 2. What you then want to do for the next row, on top of your 3 rows of sandstone that we now have, as this is the face, you're going to want to do 2 black in the 2 center spots of the row, a single sandstone either side of the black, and brown wool everywhere else. What you then want to do for the next row, and that is halfway up the face, so this is going quicker than I thought. What you then want to do for the next row is, again, 2 black wool in the 2 center spots, a single cyan either side of the black, white either side of the cyan, and just brown wool on the ends to finish it all off. What you then want to do for the next row is you're going to want to place brown on the 2 center spots and the ends of the row, white everywhere else, to give you that. What you then want to do for the 2 final rows of the face is just 2 solid rows of brown wool, so 1 and 2, just like that, to give you something which should look a little bit like that. And I realise that that is looking a little flat at the moment, but we're going to sort that out very soon. So that is what you want for Banjo's face. Pause that if necessary. Once you've done that, we can work our way onto the rest of the head. So coming around here, here's what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to, from this original row of the head, this row of 8 sandstone here, you're going to want to extend this row back with your brown wool until it overhangs the back of the statue by 2 rows. So very similar to how the front of the head overhangs the front of the statue by 2 rows, you want the back of the head to overhang the back of the statue by 2 rows. So from the side, you're going to want to have something which should look like that. Pause that if necessary. What you then want to do is take out your sandstone, and right next to like the face blocks here, you're going to want to do this. You just want to throw 2 sandstone blocks here and 1 sandstone block there. I can't really give you any better instruction than you want to do this with the sandstone. I don't really know how to vocalize that, but you want to do that with the sandstone. And you want to do the same thing on the other side of the head as well. So just come over to the other side, you just want to do like a little L shape, like right in the corner there. You guys can see what I'm doing, very simple to do. So that is what you want to do. Pause that if necessary, because what you're then going to do after you have just placed those 3 blocks of sandstone either side is you want to fill the entire rest of the head in with brown wool. That's right, the rest of the head is just brown. So however you want to accomplish that, if you like to do what I do and just turn the head into a giant cube, that is my preferred method. But however you want to accomplish it, all that matters is that the rest of the head is just filled entirely in with brown wool. And don't worry, that's not all we're going to be doing. We've got a couple of things left after the head is filled in with brown. We've got to extend the face out a little bit, and we've also got to do the ears. And as a matter of fact, on the actual skin, the backpack isn't raised out of the back at all, but I'm highly contemplating it. I like it when like physical objects that statues are holding or skins are holding are accentuated. I feel as though I'm saying that word right, except it's very close to the word that I'm looking for. Accentuated may be the word. I'm sounding like a moron, but oh well, doesn't matter. So yeah, I don't know. Kind of like Captain America's shield. You know how it like pokes out of his back 1 block? I might do the same with the backpack. I'm not sure, but that is the head. It looks very plain, very simple now. There's very little to it. It is, other than the face, mostly brown, other than those 3 sandstone blocks either side. So pause this if necessary if you're still filling in the head. I'm going to cut this out until we have daylight again, and then we will finish this off. Alright, so once you've finished filling the rest of the head in with brown, we've just got a few more details to add to finish this statue off. So first things first, we're going to be doing the ears. So you're going to want to come to the side of Banjo's head. You guys want to be on this block right here, this block that I have highlighted. I'm not going to try and explain it, I'll just stumble over myself. But you're going to want to, from this block, make this shape right here. You essentially want to make a circle shape with your brown wool, and the circle just wants to come over the top of the head by 1 row, as you can see. So you just want to make that shape right there. I hope that you guys can quite clearly see where I've done that. As I said, I try and explain it, but you guys know how that'd end up. So you want to make that circular shape with your brown, and then throw a single sandstone in there to finish off the ear. Very simple. You guys shouldn't have too much trouble with that whatsoever. So pause that if necessary. Once you've done that, you're going to want to go and do the exact same on the other side, unless of course your Banjo statue has been involved in some serious mauling. So just to do the exact same thing in the exact same position, as you can see. Very simple. Pause that if necessary. Once you've done that, it's time to move on to the face. So the face is actually really simple as well. The objective for the face is to raise up every single sandstone block and every black block. So by raise up, I essentially mean like bring said block 1 row towards you. So like this. And as I said, every sandstone block and every black block to give you something which should look like that, and that looks better to me already. I assume that whatever animal Banjo is, and I can't remember what he's supposed to be, I assume some sort of bear. has a snout, and that is what that's supposed to be. So pause that if necessary, do that for yourself, and once you've done that, I'm just going to give you a bit of a view of the head first. Hasn't that improved everything a little bit? I think that the head was, to begin with, like a 2 out of 10, but now I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. I like that. I like that a lot. So, from this point right here, you have actually completely made your Elf-Lee statue, or your Banjo statue, whichever way you really want to look at it, to be honest. But that is the original. That is, nothing's been added to that. That is what you would expect when building it. However, I've got a couple of ideas that I'm thinking about adding to it, and I'm not sure whether I should, because I wasn't too happy with the detail in the legs or the arms. Like, there's nothing that I could do about it. It'd look terrible if I was to try and add in the detail with the wood and the orange that I would have had to add. It wouldn't look very good. It wouldn't look like Banjo. It wouldn't look like Elf-Lee. But there are a couple of more additions that I can add to make up for the lack of detail in the legs. So, from this point, if you are happy with the statue as is, if you just want your bare bones Elf-Lee, there you go. This is the tutorial 100%. This is the tutorial 100% complete. That was difficult to say. Thanks for watching, and see you. But if you want to hang around, I've got a couple of ideas. So first things first, I figure I'm going to raise up the pendant, or whatever the hell this is supposed to be, out by 1 block, and I think that will make the chest look a little bit better. I'm going to leave the black above the pendant alone because I figure that is the pendant string, which would sit closer to the body than the actual pendant itself. So I'm just going to be raising up that. And I was initially going to be raising out these backpack straps, because obviously they'd come out in front of his body, but I'm going to be raising up the backpack. So just to come back here. Now the rationale with not raising up the straps because I'm raising out the backpack is because obviously the backpack should be considerably more outward than the actual straps themselves, and if I was to raise out the straps, then I'd have to raise out the pack even more, if you understand my way of thinking. Not that it'd really matter in the long run, but, you know, realism as close as you can get to a walking, almost talking bear that has a burn in his backpack and can do fantastical things. I mean, you know, as close as reality as you want to get anyway. So just to finish that up, I mean, it might look a little better if you were to throw the straps on there, but I'm kind of happy with that. I mean, I've not really made too many changes, just raising out the pack and raising out the pendant, but I think it makes a little bit of difference, and I think that that is all I plan on doing. So if you want to do the same, I'll just give you a nice bit of a view of the backpack. Pause that if necessary, and just to come around the front again, just in case you missed the pendant. There you go. Very simple, just raising up those 8 blocks. Yeah, maths. 8 blocks. And that is pretty much it. That's all I plan on changing. Not really making too many changes whatsoever. I think it improves it a little bit. Maybe. I don't know. I suppose you can be the judge of that. But at this point right here, I'm just going to give you a nice little 360-degree view of the statue, as I don't plan on doing anything else, and the statue is 100% complete. Give yourself a bit of a pat on the back if you've managed to reach this point right here. You know what, I will say that I actually do really prefer the backpack coming out of the back. It may not be entirely obvious if you didn't know, but that is exactly what it's supposed to be. The red is actually straps on the back, and you had a couple of choices with that, but all of them involved wood, using wood for the straps or using more brown, and Banjo is of course predominantly brown anyway, so I didn't want to do that. But anyway, that is the statue. I actually really do like this statue. I might make a pick slot, or perhaps another version of this where the bird, Kazooie, is coming out of the back. I might do that. We'll see. But anyway, I hope this was easy enough to follow. I hope you enjoyed it, and see you in the next tutorial. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, maybe you should think about subscribing. I have plenty more stuff like this on my channel. I have tutorials ranging from YouTube statues, skin statues, houses, pick slot, the list goes on. Thanks for watching.